All right, all right. We're about to get started now. Give me about 14 minutes before we actually start this webinar. So for those of you that are just joining in right now, I see you, Captain Jonathan. I see you here. For everybody that's joining in shortly, just gonna ask you to kindly be patient. We're gonna get started very, very soon. We have one of the top real estate and mortgage experts across the entire United States, and they're here to show you the ropes on how you can buy and build your next home. Not only that, how to save a ton of time and money. Not only that, but as well how you can maximize your VA benefits. So the fact that you are here, you are in the right place. So let's go ahead and just sit back and let's get a little cozy while we wait for everybody to join. We're gonna get started in about 13 minutes or so. All right. Just making sure everything looks spotless on our end. We're gonna start seeing some people flock in, which is very, very nice. TJ, welcome, welcome. I see you here. We're gonna get started in about 13 minutes, guys. 13 minutes. If you guys cannot hear me, please let me know because I'm trying out a new mic. So if you cannot hear me, just let me know. If you can, perfect. It's funny. How would you be able to know if you can't hear me? Um, all right, so we're gonna get started in 12, making sure everybody's getting the text messages. You guys are in for a real big treat tonight. Tonight's a webinar where you're not only being shown what you can do with your VA benefits to be able to maximize it in terms of saving time and money, but as well as you're going to be learning how you can actually buy and build. And we're going to be taught this class by an actual expert who was in the military. So this is for VAs by VA. If you're an active or inactive military service member, you are also in the right place. Whether it's you or your spouse. I'm going to start asking you guys a couple questions about that later. We're going to make this very, very interactive, but I am not the expert. I'm just the guy that puts all of this stuff together, making sure that you guys come here on time like you did now. So my job is going well if you are coming here on time like you did right now. Not only that, but the expert is here tonight to show you all the things that you need to know about buying your next home. Not only that, but building as well. All right, so you were definitely in the right place. We're gonna get started in about 11 minutes, guys. Just 11 minutes before we go ahead and get started. Sit back, relax. We're gonna get quite a few people here tonight. You guys are just the early ones, so thank you guys for being patient. And as well as, I'm gonna make sure I pull up everything on my end as well, so I am properly prepared for this webinar. Let me just pull this up here. Gonna get started in just about 10 to 11 minutes, guys. 10 to 11 minutes. You guys are definitely here as the early ones. So welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome everybody. We shall start in the next 10 minutes or so. Welcome, welcome. Just welcoming everybody as they come in. I see you guys here. All right. Gonna ask you guys a few questions. We're gonna make this webinar super interactive. So this isn't like any kind of other webinar. This is an actual live webinar. So like I am here, I'm welcome. I see you here, iPhone, Irby, Jason, Jessica, Jimmy, Johnny, Nikisha, TJ. I see you guys all here. We are live. So this isn't a pre-recorded webinar or anything like that where you ask questions and no, don't get an answer back. Like that sucks. So this is an actual live webinar, and while the expert is going to present on this webinar, at the end, I'm gonna go ahead and read everybody's questions, and hopefully we'll get some good answers from them as well. So I'm in charge. So you can blame it on me. If your question doesn't get asked, blame it on me. I'm the one at fault. But as well as We're going to be making sure that we take care of almost each and every single one of these questions. So I may bulk up some of the questions, by the way. So if we see like the same question over and over again, I'm just going to bulk it up into one so we can, save the time to be able to have other questions being asked. All right. So thank you guys for joining. I see you guys here. We're going to get started in about 9 minutes. All right. So you are definitely in the right place. So if you are a spouse, are a VA, a veteran, or an active or inactive military service member, you are in the right place. So we're going to show you how you can unlock home ownership with VA loans, a veteran's guide. Not only that, but we're going to show you how you can buy your next home or build your next home, and how that entire process works, how it's even possible, how to maximize your VA benefits to be able to get the most bang for your buck and save as much time as possible in the process when buying your next home. So you guys are in the right place. We're going to get started now in about 8 minutes, guys. 8 more minutes. 8 more minutes. Thank you guys for being early as well. We got Jason with the little thumbs up. Welcome, welcome, Jason. We're gonna get started soon in 8 more minutes, guys. 8 more minutes, 8 more minutes. All right, so it seems here everything's looking tidy. People are joining in. I love it. We're getting 7 more minutes down before we get started. 7 more minutes before we get started, guys. Thank you guys for being so early, and thank you guys for being patient. Remember that I am not the expert. The expert is coming in shortly in the next 7 minutes. Uh, let's see here. Everybody's coming through. Perfect. All the messages are going through now. This is wonderful. Everything should be great. All right. So as you guys are joining in, let's go ahead and hover over that chat box. I want to know where you guys are actually located. So we know who our audience is tonight, and we can customize this webinar just for you guys. So if you guys want to type in where you guys are currently located, not only that, but what branch did you and our family members serve? That'll be wonderful. So we know, who are our military guys here. Everybody here should be military, or you're looking to learn about it if you're looking to join the military soon. So if you guys just joined, go ahead and type into that chat box where you're currently located and what branch did you serve. We got Jason in the house, Air Force, 24 years retired, here for the all-in-one construction loan, the one-time close, absolutely. Jay Garcia from the U.S. Navy, Jessica Jackson, Virginia, Jessica Jackson, Air Force, your dad. Welcome, welcome. And Jay Garcia from North Carolina, welcome. iPhone from Florida, U.S. Army disabled vet, first time buyer, welcome everybody. Eric, Army veteran that lives in Metro Atlanta. Okay, welcome, welcome. Nikisha, Virginia, and served in the Navy, or currently serving in the Navy. iPhone from Maryland and served in the Marines. Captain Jonathan, Michigan here, looking towards Texas. USN, welcome, welcome. Johnny from Tampa, Florida, U.S. Army. TJ from Arkansas, Army. Jakia, by the way, I might butcher some names today, all right? So I'm, don't be too mean to me when I say it wrong. Jakia M from California, Navy active duty. Pauline, Army and Air Force. Welcome, welcome, Pauline. L. Lundy from Florida, Navy and Army. Jimmy Townsend, Army, Florida. Welcome, welcome. Jakia as well. That's correct. Awesome. Thank you. Irby from from Virginia, served in the Army. Charles, also from Texas and served in the Air Force. Welcome, welcome. We're about to get started in about 4 minutes. So I am not the expert, guys. If you just joined in, I am not the expert. I'm the guy that just puts it all together. I am the techie, geeky guy, funny looking guy. that just loves putting all this together and inviting experts to these webinars so you guys can benefit. We have nothing to sell you here. This is 100% free. There is nothing that we get from this webinar. This is all for you guys, completely free. Thank you guys for all of your services, for serving our country, protecting our loved ones. So thank you guys for being here tonight. We're about to get started in 4 minutes. This expert is going to show you how you can maximize those VA benefits. So you can either one, buy your next house, or two, build your next house as well. What kind of loans are available to you? What kind of opportunities and any availability that is available to you as well. So you guys are definitely in the right place, guys. We're about to get started shortly. Let me go ahead and welcome all the people that typed into that chat box, where you currently are from, and as well, what branch did you serve? If you haven't already, go ahead and type that into the chat box. Kametha Williams, Texas Air Force, welcome, welcome. Jose, U.S. Navy, retired, welcome, Jose. Owner Silver Salas Jr., served Texas National Guard and Texas State Guard, welcome, welcome. We're about to get started shortly in the next, I would say in the next 3 minutes or so. Let everybody get nice and snugly in this chat room. Jennifer, veteran from the Army Reserve, retired. Welcome, welcome. We're about to get started shortly. Give us a few more minutes, guys. A few more minutes. KC, Karen, veteran, Army National Guard. Welcome, welcome. If you haven't done so already, type into that chat box where you currently are located. Seems like everybody is like from everywhere. It's more on the east side that I'm seeing. It's like central east side. That's where a lot of people are coming in from today. So Jason from Florida, Army. I'm also from Florida as well. I'm here right now in Florida. Currently remote. I live in Miramar, but I'm currently doing this webinar right now from West Palm Beach remotely. Welcome, welcome, guys. I see you guys joining in. We're about to get started in the next 2 to 3 more minutes, guys. 2 to 3 more minutes. Thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys as well for being here early. This is wonderful. I really love that you guys are here, to further your education in the home buying process. Not only that, in the building process too, because a lot of you guys probably are here to, maybe wanting to build. So let's see here. We got Barry Whitney, Barry from Army and Army National Guard. USN Terry, USN veteran, North Fort Myers, Florida. All right, so you are on the west coast of Florida. Very nice, very nice. We're about to get started in about 1 to 2 more minutes, guys. I love to see that participation go up because we will definitely get a lot of more people here later as the webinar goes. So I'm glad that you guys are participating. And oh man, we have a lot to talk about tonight. So you guys are in for a real big treat. Once again, just to kind of, get the elephant out of the room, 100% free. This is all free. Education is free. We have nothing to sell you. We're not going to be like, hey, by the way, buy my course to show you. No, no, no. We're not going to do any of that. This is just take the education, run with it. There are some bonuses that are going to be offered, but they're also free as well. It's not going to lead to anything. It's just bonuses that'll lead to whatever the bonus is. I don't want to reveal it just yet. So it's all for you guys. You guys have to stick around for that though. You guys are going to crush it with that. All right. Let's get 60 more seconds in. Let's give that last extra minute in there for those stragglers that are going to come in a little bit later, even though you guys are known, military people are known for being very punctual. So welcome, guys. Anthony Brown, Richmond, Virginia, served in the Marines. Co from Atlanta, Georgia, served in the Marines. Welcome, welcome. I see you guys here chatting it up in the chat box. Love it. All right. The moment it hits 6:01, 7:01, or 8:01, depending on your time zone, because I'm here in Florida, it's 8 p.m. right now. The moment it hits that one, we're getting started. And let's go ahead and get started. So guys, let's go ahead and bring our energy up. Tonight, we have one of the top real estate and mortgage experts across the entire United States, we've kindly invited this person to show you the entire process of how you can utilize and maximize your VA benefits to not only be able to buy your next home and use that VA benefit, but as well, even buying land and building your home on it, your freaking dream home on it. So I wanted to thank all of you guys that have served as well our country and protect our loved ones. So I also wanted to give you guys that as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce the expert of tonight. We have Zach Tarbet. Zach, are you here? You want to go ahead and turn on your video?
What's going on, everybody?
Hear you loud and clear, brother. So if we want, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. I need to go over some rules with the audience tonight, and that is our housekeeping. So first and foremost, we're going to record this session. We're going to get some, replays of this. All of your questions. So we're going to have two segments here. We got segment number one, where this is where Zach, the expert, is going to show you the entire process and present for 30 minutes. And then we're going to try to make sure that we really are punctual with those 30 minutes because they usually tend to go a little over, a little under sometimes. But with the questions as well, 30 minutes of questions and answers. All of your questions while Zach is presenting, please type it into the chat box because I will come in the Q&A, pop back up for you again, read out all those questions in the order that it was given to Zach, and Zach is going to do his best to answer that question to the best of his capability. All right. And so from there, at the end, we're going to also offer a little bonus for you guys, kind of like dangling a little carrot for you. If you stick all the way to the end of the webinar, we're going to give you that bonus. It's completely free. Nothing to sell you here. This is 100% free education, all for you guys. All right. So once again, while Zach is presenting, do not forget to type in your questions into the chat box. I don't care if it's dumb, lame, whatever you think it is. There's no dumb questions here. We're going to get all your questions answered. All right. Want to make you guys feel comfortable. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Zach, take it away, brother.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really do appreciate your time. Let's get into it. So you're probably wondering, who am I? Why you listen to me talk? A little bit about myself. First and foremost, I am a dad. I got one son. He's 9 years old. That's a picture of me and him at a local baseball game. I am based right outside of Fort Carson here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's where I ended up after I got out of the military. I was in the Army for about 9 years myself. I was an infantry guy. I don't know if we got any other infantry folks here, but I realized that we had a huge learning deficit, if you will, when it came to what I believe is one of the best benefits earned through service. So I bought multiple homes during my time in service. I'm still buying properties while I'm out. And I'm really passionate about giving us the education and information I wish when we were in the military. Depending when you're in, right, the mission set was different. You're training, you're deploying, you're coming home, and you're repeating that cycle. Things have obviously changed, but again, this is the information that I wish we would have had. A little bit about my background. I've been in the mortgage business for about 5 years. I actually started my last year in the Army. And my first place that I worked at said, you need to have a niche. And I said, well, I'm a veteran. Nobody showed me how to use my VA loan. Nobody told me what I could or couldn't do with it. So I'm going to really focus on that. So this is what we're here to do. I'm really passionate about helping the military community, not just with home loans, but I'm also a part of the Association of the United States Army. We do a lot of nonprofit work, just really passionate about our community. So let's just dive into it. What is the VA home loan? The VA home loan was established after World War II in 1944 through the GI Bill of Rights. What this was intended to do was to give us some foundation to fall back on after the war. So it allowed us to purchase homes. At the time, it was businesses. That's no longer the case anymore, but it was really giving us that leg up after the World War II. The big benefits that you often hear about, there is 0% down. This is really different when we compare this to FHA and conventional loans. Those loans are going to require anywhere from 3 to 5% down just to get in the door. This is also a government-backed loan. So why is this important to know? There's a lot of bad information if you start digging into your VA loan that people don't want to take it. Banks don't like to lend on it. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's absolutely not true. There is a guarantee to where if we were ever to foreclose on a VA loan, the lender is going to get paid, giving lenders an incentive to hand out funds for veterans. This is an exclusive benefit. Whether you're active duty military, you're out of the military now, you're reserve, National Guard, and even eligible surviving spouses can leverage the VA loan. I personally believe that this is one of the best benefits earned through our service. Let's continue to unpack this a little bit more. First things first, your golden ticket, aka your certificate of eligibility. This is the first critical step to getting your VA loan. And why do I emphasize this as being the golden ticket? Quite frankly, if we cannot get a certificate of eligibility for you, you cannot use your VA loan. Okay, so this is extremely important first step. So what this does, it shows us you're eligible to use your VA loan. It also shows if you're exempt from the VA funding fee, which I'm going to dive into a little bit later. And it's really easy to obtain. You can go through your e-benefits portal and request one yourself, or you can get with a lender like myself and request it directly from the VA. It takes us just a few moments, so it's really easy to do. And again, this is your first step, extremely critical. I've seen people get to the end trying to buy a home. They didn't have their certificate of eligibility. They could not use their VA loan and lost thousands of dollars. So extremely critical first step here. Breaking down what the funding fee is. Now, let me just start before I say anything. If you are receiving more than 10% disability from the VA, you don't have to worry about the slide and what I'm about to say. But maybe you never filed a claim with the VA or you're still in the military. You are going to have what's called the VA funding fee. This allows the program to keep up and running with 0% down. Now, this fee is not paid a one lump sum at closing, even though it can be. This fee is rolled into your loan amount. People are often concerned thinking it's going to impact their monthly payment. Depending on the purchase price of your home, you may see an increase in $5 to $10. But again, this is for a 0% down loan. It's extremely beneficial. For your first time use, the VA funding fee is 2.15% of your loan amount. If you still don't have a disability rating when you buy another home, you are going to be moved up to the subsequent use bracket of 3.3%. As you see here, if you put a down payment, it is going to lower your funding fee. My personal opinion, I feel like it kind of is counterintuitive. The benefit of the VA loan is no down payment. So why would you put money down just to save on the funding fee? But that's just my personal opinion there. Now, there is different funding fees, whether you're doing a refinance, an IRRRL, we're going to explain what that is later on, or a cash out refinance. But as you see here, again, the big thing I like to stress here, if you're getting disability, you don't have to worry about this. If you're not, it's very minimal on what it's going to do to your monthly payment. So I really like to ask this question, take a moment, put it in the group chat. What do you think the minimum credit score is in order for you to use your VA loan? I'm going to take a minute. Go ahead, put your answers in the chat because I love seeing the different responses here. Seeing some 580s, all different kind of numbers, right? This next slide is going to make some of y'all shit your pants, all right? Let's debunk that myth. The VA loan has no minimum credit score. What some lenders will require is a 620 plus. Now, I'm just going to say it again. The VA does not have a minimum credit score, but some banks will require a 620 plus. This is why it's extremely important to work with the right lender. I'm partnered with a financial institution where we underwrite our loans exactly how the VA handbook is written, meaning there is no minimum credit score required for a standard VA loan. The construction program is a little bit different, but we will dive into that. A big myth too is that you have to be a first-time home buyer. If you use your VA loan, it's a one and done. That is absolutely not true. You can use your VA loans multiple times throughout your life. And I'm a prime example of one of this myth right here on the end, that you can only own one home at a time with your VA loan. Again, absolutely not true. I own 2 homes right now with my VA loan. I have enough entitlement to purchase a 3rd home with no money down. So if you've heard any of these myths, let's debunk them right now. But there's also some more that I'd like to tackle with you. Continuing on, sellers don't like VA buyers. Again, this is absolutely not true. If a seller is unwilling to take a VA offer, it's typically because there's a lack of information being conveyed by the real estate professionals around them, whether it's their listing agent, whether it's the buyer's agent, or a lender who is not experienced. Fun fact of the day, the average loan officer in America only does 2 VA transactions a year. My team and I does over 100 VA transactions a year. So it's extremely important when it comes to the biggest purchase of your life, you get the right team behind you because not everyone is well-versed in the military or how VA loans work. Myth that the VA loan is limited to certain types of properties. Absolutely not true. You can purchase a single-family residence, a manufactured home, a modular home, a condominium, a townhome, a multifamily property, and what a lot of people are here to learn, how to build a custom home. So thinking that there is only specific homes for this program, absolutely not true. you have access to about any kind of home out there as long as it's not what we call a unique property. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions on the VA appraisal process. What is an appraisal? This is determining that you're paying a fair market value for the home. If the seller is trying to get $500,000 for their home, but we determine it's only worth $400,000, we're protecting you from overpaying on a home that's not really worth what the seller wants for it. Another big thing with appraisals, they can deem what we call mandatory property repairs. If there's busted windows, if there's hole in the roof, if the house is filled with animal shit, these are things that are going to have to be cleaned up. Again, protecting you as the buyer. You're not walking into a trap house is the easiest way I could say this for you. All right. So these are some common myths and misconceptions that I love to debunk for our military community off the bat. So I know I just covered a lot on that. So
if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type them into the chat box. I just did a little text there. This is where you can type in all of your questions, guys. Type them all into the chat box because in the Q&A section, we're going to go ahead and get them answered all by Zach.
Sweet. All right, let's continue on. Now let's unpack what goes into buying a home. So a big misconception that we often have, and I was guilty of this on my first home, is 0% down must mean a free loan for me. And that is absolutely not true. There are going to be some expenses that we have to be prepared for as veteran home buyers. The first one is earnest money. If you've ever rented an apartment, I view this as a security deposit. You are putting that down in good faith, showing the seller that you are going to have good intentions moving forward with their home. Now, let's say you go through your inspection, there's some issues and you want to back out of the contract. As long as you back out before the dates and deadlines spelled out in your contract, you will receive your earnest money back. If the sellers pay all of your closing costs, you will also get your earnest money back. Really, what closing costs are is very similar if you've ever purchased a vehicle. I like to compare this to taxes, title, and insurance. So just like with a car, same thing with a home. Now with the home inspection, this is going to vary based on your area. It could be $300 to $500 and in some cases more. What the home inspection is doing is they are getting into the nitty gritty of your home. They're checking the foundation, they're checking the electrical, they're checking everything that may make you not want to buy that home, right? You don't want to walk into a money pit or a home where you're going to have to dump thousands of dollars just to get fixed up. The appraisal, like I mentioned, that's determining you're paying a fair market value for the home and there's not major deficiencies with that home. That can range from $600 to $900. That fee is dictated by the VA, but it changes based on where you're located. So it's always a little bit different based on where you're purchasing. Termite. This is only for select areas. I will say mostly on the southern states. You're going to have to do a termite inspection. If you're somewhere where it's cold, you're above the frost line, as we say, you'll never have to worry about a termite inspection. But again, these are for your peace of mind, and these are the costs that goes into buying a home that you need to be prepared for. Again, 0% down does not equal a free loan. The way that I personally bought both my homes without having to spend any money was having my realtor negotiate for seller concessions, a fancy word for a credit that paid all of my closing costs. I often get asked, can I roll my closing costs into the loan? And I just want to let you know, absolutely not. What I did is I increased the sales price for my concessions to get that money back, but you cannot technically roll it into your loan. So diving into the single family method, just letting you know, of course, you could use your VA loan for single family homes. There is no down payment required. You're going to have about 0.5% lower interest rates compared to a conventional loan or any standard first-time homebuyer programs. You're also not going to have any private mortgage insurance on your VA loan. This is going to save you hundreds of dollars monthly when we compare this to a conventional or FHA. And again, that appraisal protection, if the home does not appraise or has major deficiencies, you can back out of that contract and get your earnest money back. You don't have to worry about losing that money because it can be 1% of the sales price. You can also leverage your VA loan for multifamily properties, anywhere from 2 to 4 units. Why I really like this technique is that you can start essentially a real estate portfolio with no money down. There is no other loan program where you can do this. And the benefit is that you'll be able to use the rental income to help you qualify. So for example, let's say you may be pre-approved for a single family home at $300,000, but you may want a multifamily. Since we could use that rental income to help qualify you, you may be able to increase your purchase power to, let's just say, for example, $450,000, giving you more buying power. I really like the long-term wealth strategy with this because once you move out of the property, you're going to turn your unit into a rental unit, increasing your cash flow. The big thing with this is it has to be your primary residence. If you do not have any experience in managing multifamily properties, you're going to need to hire a property manager for your first 12 months. But again, you can purchase a multifamily home with your VA loan, 0% down, anywhere from 2 to 4 units. Ooh, is there any homeowners in here currently that is getting harassed about an URL? And you're probably wondering what it is. If so, can you just put it in the chat? Because I love seeing how many people, including myself, I get hounded about this all the time. And there's some things that I really want to cover with you. So the minimum required drop in interest rate for this program is going to be 0.5%. Now, just like the military, just because that's our minimum requirement doesn't mean that's always the best use of everything. My personal rule of thumb, it does not make sense to do this program unless you can lower your interest rate by 1 full percent. So that is my rule of thumb. You want to lower your interest rate by 1 full percent. The minimum is 0.5%. Okay. This program is extremely easy if you are a homeowner. It's not like the process of buying a home. You're not worried about inspections, appraisals, anything like that. All that we're doing is showing that we're lowering your interest rate and saving you money on a monthly basis. It is a great program, but don't fall for those 1-800 numbers calling you or texting you saying, hey, we could do this, we could save you this. What they're often not telling you is how much they're going to charge you in lender fees to get you a lower rate. What are their closing costs? They're just going to tell you it's okay, don't worry about it, we're saving you money, you don't have to pay anything out of pocket, it's all good. But if you're getting these, keep in mind, they're very predatory in how they go about it. They're going to tell you you can skip 2 monthly payments as well. And that is absolutely not the case. You're not skipping shit. If I'm just being honest with everybody here, it's being rolled onto the back end of your loan. So if you are a homeowner and you're curious about this, does it make sense? Please reach out to me directly and I'll give you a no bullshit conversation of if you should or if you shouldn't go through an URL. Cash out refinance. This is my favorite because I love every time when they call me, they're like, you could tap into your equity. I'm like, but I have a 2.25% rate. Like, yeah, it's okay, but we can give you money. What they're not telling you is that you are restarting your loan terms with today's interest rate. So if you are a homeowner sitting on a lot of equity with a low interest rate, what they're not telling you is you're going to go up to whatever today's market rate is. Could be 5.5, could be 6.25, all depends on your credit profile. You're restarting your loan terms. So let's say you bought your house in 2020, you've been there 6 years, you've knocked off 6 years off your mortgage, you're going to restart to a 30-year term. You can pull 100% of the equity out of your home, which is awesome. It's a great benefit. And this is tax-free. But I always like to say, if you do have a low interest rate and you're looking at different ways to tap in your money, let me know. Because I think while the cash out refinance is great, I think what a lot of these people harassing you to take money out of your home just aren't giving you the right information. You're going to lose your interest rate. You're restarting your terms. And there may be a different avenue for you, such as a HELOC or HE loan that will keep your low interest rate there without having to touch it. The big thing with the cash out refinance, you're basically rebuying the home all over again. You're having an appraisal done, you're doing a full underwrite. It's essentially like you're buying that home again, even though you're living there. So it is a lot more tedious of a process. All right. I know we're covering a lot, and this is the big meat and potatoes, what brought a lot of people here. How to build your dream home with the VA loan. What this program is referred to as an OTC, or a one-time closed loan. So what does this entail, right? You are including the land if you do not already own it, the improvements to the land, right? If you need to put water, sewer, septic, electricity, whatever the case may be, this is included in this loan. All right. Again, there is no money down, extremely beneficial with this loan program. Any other traditional construction loan is going to have a down payment. One thing that's not listed on here, which I apologize, is that there is no payments during the course of construction with this program. Okay. I'm going to say that again. When you are building your dream home, there's no payments on your new home during the course of construction. You're able to build your home exactly how you want within reason, and I'm going to dive into that. Also, the big benefit is that there is one set of closing costs on a traditional construction loan. There could be up to 3 sets of closing costs, which is just several thousands of dollars you are wasting, which you don't have to worry about with this program. So let's dive into what can you build, what can you not build, because this is where I get asked the most questions. You can build a standard single family residence. Yes, you can even build a barn dominium with this program. You can build a modular home And you can even do manufactured homes. The only catch is it has to be a double wide. What you cannot build: unique properties, dome homes. I've been asked, can I build like a 75 square foot shack with a 20 car garage? Absolutely not. Anything that's unique, you cannot do. Same with commercial properties. And the big thing as well, people often ask me, I just want to have this be a true investment home. Anything to do with your VA loan is intended to be your primary residence, whether that's a single family residence, a multifamily residence, or building your dream home. It has to be your primary residence. One thing that I often get asked is, I want to build a ground up quadplex multifamily property. You cannot do that with this program. It has to be a single family residence, barndominium, modular home, or double wide manufactured home. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at building a ground up 4-unit property, you cannot do that. Now, you heard me talk about the minimum credit score on a standard VA loan, but this construction program is different. This is what we're going to have overlays on. That's just a fancy word for additional rules. To buy land and build your dream home, you are going to have a 640 or higher credit score. Your maximum debt to income ratio cannot be more than 55%. Again, this does have to be your primary residence. We are going to verify your income and assets just like with any other loan out there. We do look at your credit history. Again, this is looking at that 640 plus FICO score to buy land and build your dream home. And the big thing too is that we are also going to have to get your builder approved. Okay. I'm just going to say it now. I often get asked, can I build my own home? Can I have a family member build my home? Absolutely not. Why? It's due to liability. There always has to be a third party that we can essentially hold liable if they don't build your home correctly, if they try to take money and run. There's a lot of these things that are protected measures for you, but you cannot build your own home. That's something that we are often asked. So kind of laying out, what does this look like in a timeline, time frame? First things first, if you do not already own land, you are going to secure your plot of land. Number two, this is one of the most critical phases, in my opinion. You are finding your builder. I do not provide you with the builder. This is where you have to step in and do your due diligence. This program requires a lot of legwork from you as the consumer to step in, find your builder, and then they also have to get approved with us. I'm going to dive into what those approval requirements look like, but just keep in mind, this is a big piece right here. Once you find your builder, this is where you are putting your dream together. You are developing your home, your ideal home. And with this program, you are signing for everything up front before we hit the construction phase. What does this mean? Once you sign for everything, your blueprints are finalized, there is no going back. There's no changing anything because you are closing up front with this. So you can't get 6 months into the build and be like, shit, I don't want my bathroom here. It's too late, okay? So take your time, phase 2, phase 3, because you're doing everything up front. Once that's all squared away, you close, you sign for the land, you sign for your construction, then construction phase begins. This is where you break ground. How long can it take? It really depends on where you're located. Are you impacted by weather? Construction phase typically is anywhere from 6 to 9 months. After your home's complete, there will be inspections. Does your home meet county code, state code, whatever regulations, depending where you're located? We have to make sure that home is good, excuse me, and functional for you. Then after all that is said and done, your inspection's done, your home's complete. This automatically converts to your permanent mortgage, your permanent VA loan. You do not make payments until you move in. So anywhere from 30 to 60 days after you move in will be your first payment. So how long does this go from start to finish? Typically 12 months on the low end, but it can be 18 months. It just depends how long it takes for you to find your builder, get pre-approved, finalize your plans. Construction, again, 6 to 9 months. But overall, I'd say on the short end, this process takes 12 months. On the longer end, it can take 18. All right. Picking the right builder. I don't understand why so many people ask me. I'm just trying to find the cheapest person to do it. This is the biggest investment of your life. You don't want cheap, you want good, okay? So we have to have that builder approved with us. What are we looking at? That they're licensed, they're insured, they're reputable, and most importantly, they have experience building the home that you want. If you are trying to build a barn dominium, you're not going to hire a builder that only does manufactured homes. They don't have experience building the kind of home that you want. So again, we're looking to make sure that they have a track record building the specific kind of home that you want. They have experience doing it. And another big piece that we look at is the builder financially stable? Why is this so important for us to ensure, right? We don't want the builder to go belly up midway through construction and now we're scrambling trying to find you a new builder. It's extremely stressful. So we're looking for somebody who's been in business and going to continue to stay in business and has a good reputation in their line of work. So your path to home ownership, it honestly starts here, everyone. You've earned this benefit. This is the best benefit throughout like any military service we can get because it's one that's going to build you wealth, give you a place to live, and set you up for success. When it comes to finding the right person, you want to be partnered with experts who know and understand the VA loan. And that is why my team and I, everyone is a veteran or military spouse. And we have a referral network of real estate professionals that are also veteran or military spouse. So when it comes to the biggest purchases of your life, don't just trust anybody because I've gone through bad experiences hiring people that didn't care about me or my family, and I paid for it with thousands and thousands of dollars. And unfortunately, I didn't have a place to live on during one of my PCSs because shit went sideways. So let's open it up for some questions.
All right, all right. So, if I may, let's go ahead and get the Q&A session started. And so all these questions, please start typing them into the chat box if you haven't already. But first and foremost, I want to go ahead and reveal what that bonus is. So the bonus, and by the way, yes, the slides, yes, you can just request for the slides to be shared with you. You can contact us and we can definitely share these slides with you, so it's no problem. And this entire recording of the webinar, by the way. So let me go ahead and do this. Let me stop the screen sharing. Please hold. Perfection. And so let's do this. Let's remove the spotlight. Perfect. So it's just both of us. We're going to do like a back and forth type of thing. So this is the best part because of the fact that we're going to get all of your questions answered. But not only that, but some people here ask questions that you probably didn't even think about. So we're going to get those answered too. But that bonus that we were going to reveal, it is a free one-on-one veteran homebuyer strategy session with Zach himself. So when you guys had registered, you guys actually had an opportunity to book. But after a certain time, that got closed down because Zach's calendar got completely filled up back to back to the brim. So in this case, I'm gonna call out some names. And if your name is not called, that means that you have an opportunity to book your one-on-one because all the people that were called already did book. So let me go ahead and share my screen really quickly so I can show you what I mean and keep typing in your questions in the meantime so I can go ahead and take care of this. So you can see Zach's calendar here. This is all for tomorrow, Friday, slam to the brim. Same thing over here for Saturday. He only has a certain amount of hours available on weekends. So we do have some availability on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm saying good luck. We only have probably like 15 slots available or something, or 17 slots available to book your appointment. But in the case, I'm going to start calling out names. Jonathan Gurns, Hazlitt, I know you're here by the way. Daniel, Ivan, Matos, Juan Garcia, Johnny Ponder, Nicole Brown, Crystal Solomon, and let me go back one to make sure. And all of these, Tom Parks, Turenza Goodwin, Franklin Huggins, Gregory Jackson, Rudy Flores, Terry Williams, Brent Davis, Sandra Hamilton, Robert Martin, Edward Glover, Zachary Bowden, Delvin Crawford, Philip McCarter, Joseph Hill, Angel Pena, Tashana Luquette, Steve Thomas, Jimmy Townsend. I know you're here as well. I saw you, Jimmy. Shane, Tim, Lawrence Lujan, William Valen, Ron Jones, Rainier Salas, Timothy Gonzalo, Gina, Daniel, Kalamer. I know I have to go through all these names, but if I don't call your name and you book, we don't want you double booking. Rafael Rodriguez, Michelle Jones, Alberto Terrazas, James Walston, Venita McNair, Rolando Forkind, Claiborne Lawrence, Donna Fitch Cypress, Robert Eubank, Cortez Charles, Grover Davis, Albert Turner, David Barnes, BW, which I think you're here as well, Charles Walker, James Riviera, Carrion Underwood, Mark Lopez, Gilbert Bryant, Julio, and Maria Plaza, Henry Noyes, Hillary, and Tina Stanton. You guys are getting a big congratulations that you guys have already gotten that booked one-on-one. So you guys are already set. For those of you that did not book and your name was not called, I'm gonna go ahead and paste the link to book your free one-on-one. So go ahead and click on that link if your name was not called. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with the questions. You ready?
Let's do it.
A lot of names, right?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right, let's go back. So keep typing in your questions, by the way, during the meantime. 17 slots left to book that one-on-one with Zach. First question. Can I use this program if I want a refinance and take my money out of my home? This is from Valentine Housen.
Say that again.
Can I use this program if I want to refinance, if I have a loan and I want to refinance and take money out of my home?
You can. The issue that you're going to run into is bonus entitlement. So if you're doing a cash out refinance and restarting your terms again, you're increasing how much eligibility you're using, how much entitlement you're using. So if you're trying to leverage, if you're trying to get money out and purchase another home with your BA loan, you may limit yourself on your next home's purchase power. So I'd say that's a real case by case scenario. Like, can you? Maybe. It just depends on how much entitlement you're going to have by adjusting what entitlement you're using to pull equity out.
There we go. Next question is, let's scroll up. All right. Just a lot of people here. From Johnny Garcia, if you received a COE, which I don't even know what that is, can it be updated like more money? What is a COE, by the way?
That's your golden ticket, the certificate of eligibility. That's what you need to get your VA loan. Um, I guess I'm trying to understand the question. Like, if you get a higher disability rating, it's going to reflect on your COE. So your COE is going to show how much you're getting in disability compensation from the VA. So if you have an adjustment to your rating, it should reflect on your COE. But you're not going to get more money, if I'm understanding it correctly, for purchase power. Purchase power is going to depend on a few things. How much do you qualify for? How much can you afford? And if you don't own any homes right now, I mean, you have full entitlement. So what do I mean by full entitlement? If you can qualify for a $4 million home, I can give you a loan for a $4 million home. And yeah, you got to make a shitload of money for that with no money down.
Got it, got it, got it. So let me go ahead and give a big congratulations as well for Sabrina Nelson and Corey Edwards for booking your free one-on-ones. I'm going to check here if you double booked or not, but congratulations. Remember, guys, click the link in the chat box to book your one-on-one. James Cannon for an appointment. I see a James McCann, but I don't see a James Cannon that has already booked. So if you guys want to do that already, we only have 15 spots available. I guess less now. Terry Milakin and Valentine Housen, congratulations. And Jason Witz. All right, so moving on to the next question. Jason Witz, the guy with two VA loans. Jason says, I have two VA loans, two properties. I want to use the VA construction loan and build a third. How much eligibility do I have? And how can I find out how much I would have to pay?
That Jason, did you schedule one-on-one? Because that's going to be really
He
specific
did.
to where, okay, I can do that on our one-on-one. I have a calculator and I can see how much eligibility you have remaining. And then if you go over, I'll be able to lay out the steps of what that would cost, because you can go over how much entitlement you have. There's a few catches to that, but we'll be able to dive into that one-on-one. And you'll walk away with knowing how much eligibility you have remaining, what it would look like to build with for a third home.
Charles Smith, Warren Simpson, congratulations. I see you booked your free one-on-ones here. Guys, click on the link that I just posted like a minute ago on the chat box to book your one-on-one if you haven't already and you haven't been called. If your name has not been called, that means that you are definitely able to book that one-on-one so you don't have to rebook. Hardy Lundy, congratulations for you as well. Next question is from Valentine Housen. If one was in a bankruptcy and it was dismissed, can you use this program?
Yes, the big thing with bankruptcy is the time you have to wait and which bankruptcy did you file? Was it Chapter 7 or 13? And you don't need to answer that now. We can talk about this in our one on one. Typically, you would have to wait 2 years from your discharge date. But yes, you could still use your VA loan again. It does not like stop you from ever using it just because you had a mishap in the past. But we can dive into that as well. But you absolutely can use your VA loan again. We'll just dive into the timeline if you fit into that.
Got it. Tashana Luckett and Irby Cotton the second. Congratulations. I see you that you booked your one-on-one appointment here. Congratulations. Next question is from Jackson Eubank. What is the income ratio to loan request for a VA loan?
Income ratio.
I'm assuming they mean debt to income
Debt to
ratio.
income. So
Yeah.
VA loans are a little bit different, right? There is no set debt to income ratio. We go off a different calculation called residual income, which means how much money do you have left over after all your expenses are paid based on your family size. So I've been able to get veterans through with like a 70% DTI because they met residual debt to income. So there's not a specific one. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. I've seen some people get capped out at 70%, like I mentioned, others at 50%, because what we go off of is residual income, which just, again, is how much is left after all your bills are paid based on your family size.
Got it. Tashana, by the way, when you had booked your one-on-one, I see that you had double booked. So I canceled out the one for the 29th and kept you for Sunday, which is January 25th. So you are all set, by the way. James Cannon, I see that you booked your one-on-one as well. Congratulations. I'm just trying to keep up with all the people that didn't double book and did. So I apologize if I'm focused on that. But next question is Rodney asking, can you use your VA to purchase land and build?
Well, I hope you were here for that part of the class because we're not now kidding. Yes, yeah, man, you absolutely can. That's what we call the one-time close program. And again, just to reiterate, that's wrapping your land, the improvements to the land, your construction, and your permanent loan all into one. You absolutely can do that. And I don't think I mentioned this in the class. I do apologize. If you already own the land, you can still use this program. It's just going to reduce how much you have to borrow from the bank because you already own the land.
There we go. Congratulations to Kimitha Williams and Albert Chapman. Congratulations. I see you here. James, I already called out your name. All right. Next question is from Maria. When purchasing a land to build our home, what do we need to do before moving forward? I was told the house needed to be on the property before using the VA loan. Is that right? Good question, by the way.
Definitely not. Obviously, if we're talking something that's already existing, of course the house has to be there. But with the one-time close program, you are wrapping everything into one: your land, your construction, everything. So what you need to do on that front end is you need to find a builder that's going to build the home that you want and willing to get approved with us. Finding the realtor and finding the land is the easy part. Finding the builder, I personally feel like, is the hard part because a lot of builders don't want to go through the bank's approval process. Again, we're looking at a few things. Are they licensed? Are they insured? Are they reputable? And do they have experience building the home that you want? So I would say that's probably the biggest piece right there is finding that builder, in my opinion.
There you go, guys. 9 spots left. I'm going to repaste that link in the chat box one more time so you guys don't have to scroll up too hard. So I just posted that link again. If I didn't call your name, you haven't booked. And so like I just went through an entire list of names. So if I didn't call your name there, go ahead and click on that link to book on for your free one-on-one VA home buyer strategy session. All right. He just answered. Cancel my first question. He just answered. Perfect. I got you, L. Eric Atkinson, congratulations. And I believe Tracy just also booked their free one-on-one. Congratulations. Yep, Tracy Britt. Congratulations. Next question. Ooh, there's some good ones here. Terry, I tried for a VA loan with my COA. I don't know what that is. From a direct lender who approved me. However, the underwriter refused to fund the loan with no explanation. How do I get around this problem? Great question.
That's really going to be, I'm going to probably have to dive into you with that one with you, Terry, one-on-one to try to get a better understanding of it. If you were approved, there was no issues. I don't understand why the underwriter denied you. But we can dive into that more one-on-one because there's a lot of reasons why a loan can be denied, right? The basics is cash, credit, collateral. If you were fine on all those, I don't know why they would deny you unless the home had an issue, which doesn't sound like it. So let's unpack that on our one-on-one and see what, like, I'll give you some more insight on it because that doesn't make sense to me why you would get pre-approved and then you get all the way to the end and then denied, unless the person who pre-approved you, kind of going back to the average loan officer only does 2 VA loans in America per year. They may have just done a bad pre-approval on you and not told you and blamed it on underwriting.
There you go. All right, next question here. The house, okay, he was also told that the house had to already be on the land as well, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, if if we're talking about building your own home, that's the benefit of that program. Yes, to buy like raw land, you can't buy raw land with just your VA loan. I know if someone's from Texas, they're like Texas Land Board, but that's a completely different program. But it just depends on the context. It sounds like you were speaking with somebody who really didn't know what they were talking about. So I'm hoping it wasn't Veterans United because fun fact of the day, Veterans United is not owned by a single veteran. It has nothing to do with the military community other than that they spend the most on Google.
There you go. All right, I want to go ahead and congratulate Belinda Williams for booking your one-on-one as well. Let me see here. You just did. Yep, you definitely just did so. Congratulations. Next question is from Co. How long do you have to live in the home before you use it for the next purchase?
So typical rule of thumb is going to be 12 months. It can be less depending on your circumstance, right? I like to use the active duty example. If you bought a home and you came down on orders, you're not going to have to wait a year to buy another home. That's an extenuating circumstance. So typical rule of thumb is 12 months. It can be less. You just have to have a good reason as to why. Maybe you're moving for a job, military PCS, moving for your civilian job, different school districts where you're at. There's a few things to where it can be less, but typically you'll need a year.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and do this. Eric asked, if both husband and wife are eligible for VA loan, does that increase your amount of purchase? Great
Yes
question.
and no. So, personally speaking, if I was a dual military family, I would flip flop on whose eligibility that I use. So, I'd purchase one home under one COE, one home under another COE. What it will help you with is both your income and purchase power, especially if you're getting disability, you both are working. That will help your purchase power. So, I hope I'm answering your question the way you're anticipating. If not, let me know and I can dive into it.
Awesome. Awesome. Next question is, well, I don't really have, it's not a question, just a person saying I just did an Earl 3 months ago. Next question is from Jason Witz. I want to do an Earl. I need a 4.6%. Can you hook me up?
Jason, I wish I could, man, but to get you down to a 4.6, legally, I cannot even sell you that loan. It would cost so much in points and fees to do so. So I would say if you're sitting at a 5.6 today, depending on which metric you're going off of, which I said to lower it, you're at a good interest rate for today. So I would hold what you got right now, because if anyone's telling you or you're getting the mailers that it's like, oh, we get you a 4.99, what they're not telling you is they're going to bend you over on points and fees and just screw you out of a lot of equity. So if you got a 5.6, I'm going to tell you right now, hold what you got because you're in a good position for the way the market is. 4.6, I wish I could get you a 4.6 because I would be doing it all day.
There you go. All right. What about building a cabin house by Johnny Garcia?
Cabin house, like, are we talking off-grid cabin house? Are we talking just a standard cabin home? Because this is where it gets a little tricky in the unique properties. I've found it very difficult for cabins to get approved. Not saying it's impossible. And the reason is banks always look at everything from risk. If you foreclose on this home, it's in a remote area, cabin home. It's already going to be really hard for them to sell and recoup their cost. So is it possible? Potentially. Have I seen it go through? Not so much, just because the bank looks at it from the worst case scenario. It'd be really hard for them to sell if they had to take back ownership.
All right, guys, I just went ahead and dropped that link to book that one-on-one. If you guys haven't done already and you guys have not been called, like your name has not been called, then you can go ahead and click on that link to book your free one-on-one VA home buyer strategy session with Zach. It's completely free and as well as only exclusive for webinar attendees only. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next question. Captain Jonathan Gurns. When using the VA construction loan, can additional buildings such as unattached garage be included? Thank you.
A garage, yes, that's not an issue. Where people try to get a little shifty is building like ADU, additional dwelling unit. That's where it gets a little tricky. But if we're talking a detached garage, that's not an issue.
Awesome, awesome. From iPhone, can you build a log cabin built on that program? So we already answered that.
Yeah.
TJ, does the VA have a list of approved builders by state? Good question,
Yes,
TJ.
yes. It's actually on the VA website. You can dial it into state and county, and it'll give you a list. The big thing that I recommend if you do that is cross check with Google as well. Make sure they're still in business. Make sure they're still reputable. Everything like that. Because just because they're approved on the VA list, again, it's pretty simple to do through that. Doesn't mean they're always good to go. I also recommend local real estate groups to ask like who's a custom home builder, because you're going to get a lot of good feedback on that as well. And it will save you from sifting. Like my county alone in El Paso County, Colorado, I go to it, there's over 4,000 approved builders. So it makes it really hard to funnel it through.
Mm-hmm. Samson asking, that's a great question. I was thinking, okay, no. L asking, do I need to pay for the land up front?
Oh, this includes the cost of the land. Again, if you already own land, you're just reducing how much you have to borrow. But if you're buying the land, this includes the cost of the land. So you don't need to pay for it separately or upfront. Land loans are really tedious. Banks don't like to lend on them because there's no value until you build something on the land.
Got it. So let's see here. Next question is from Eric. Do you know any builders in the state of Georgia?
I personally don't. That's where I kind of harp on, you do have to do your own due diligence for builders.
Mhm.
Just because,
That makes
I mean,
sense.
even if I had a connection, you may not like that connection and it may not be the home that you want specifically. So, kind of going back to, I would just do your due diligence on that.
There you go. Tracy, are you sharing the slides with us? You can request it. There's a log cabin. Okay, Johnny Garcia, do you have credit repair companies? So how would you go about that?
Yeah, I do have a connection with a credit repair company. If that's something that you would like and you did schedule a one on one with us, I can get you enrolled for that. The fee is pretty modest. I think they charge like $100 a month, but I can get you partnered with a company if that is one of your concerns, and they'll be able to walk you through everything you need for credit repair.
All right, there you go. Bobby asking, what if you already own the land? Great
Boom. So
question,
you
Bobby.
are reducing how much you got to borrow from the bank, right? So if you already own the land, let's just say it's free and clear, that's reducing how much you have to borrow. If there is any loan still left on the land, you would pay it off during this process. So technically, you're not purchasing with it. You're doing what's called a cash out refinance type two. But if you have a note still on that land, it will be paid off and wrapped into one loan at the end.
Pauline asking, what if you filed bankruptcy about 3 years ago? How does that work for me?
So you're past the 2 year waiting period. So you could apply for your VA loan right now. So 2 years is the rule of thumb with bankruptcy. Can be less depending on which chapter, but both of them cap at 2 years.
Got it. Eric asking, is there a max for the purchase of land?
Typically, you're gonna be capped at about $1 million for land, construction, everything for a loan amount. And then if your term's kind of referring to acreage, you are going to be capped at 40 acres on the build program. A standard VA loan, technically, there is no acreage cap. Again, this is the difference between a standard VA loan and the one-time close. There is some nuances there.
There you go. Next question is, my dad is a veteran. Can he purchase a house with me? Great question.
Better question is, are you a veteran as well? Because if not, that makes things very, very tricky. Can he purchase a home? Yes. Can you be on the loan if you're not a veteran? Yes. But what comes with that is a nice down payment of 12.5%. As you are not a
Money.
veteran, there's no certificate of eligibility to put the loan on. So can you? Yes. It is it more difficult? Yes. It's a whole lot of fun. Split entitlement loans.
There you go. Daniel asking, and by the way, Daniel, I saw your comment. For anybody that wants the slides, you can just email us or text that number that was texting you previously, and we can definitely pull some strings for you to get these slides. And not only the slides, but the replay of the webinar. I think that'll be better. Daniel, you asked, even though payments start after completion, what does interest, like when does interest start to accumulate on the mortgage? At signing or when payments start? What a freaking baller question.
Yeah, that's a good one. So the best way I can describe it and explain it is that right when you sign, it's already accumulating interest. Since there is no interest only payments during the course of construction, money isn't free, right? What banks are doing, what we're doing is putting it on the back end of your loan. So while it isn't paid during the course of construction, house is always going to take their money, right? It's just you're not seeing it. It's in your total loan amount. It's not paid during construction. So to answer your question, once you sign, that's when it starts. But technically, you're not making payments on it until 30 to 60 days after you move in.
There you go. All right. So let me go ahead and paste the link here one more time because we currently, with Belinda being the last person that booked, we have 5 spots left, guys. So if your name was not called during the times where I was calling out all the names, to book that free one-on-one session, you can go ahead and click on that link, book your one-on-one with Zach now, because I think his next slot available is actually not even this next week. It's the following week starting on Sunday. So good luck with that. And please be patient on all of you guys that have booked your appointments. Please be patient. You will get your time as well. For those of you that booked for Sunday, congratulations. Keep booking before they book out. And by they, I mean just Zach. All right, moving on to the next question here. Just skipping over through some that we already answered.
No worries.
This is a good one from Omar Pedroza. Can a disability rating be considered income? And does it have to be a certain rating to qualify for the construction loan? Great question.
Yeah. Your disability 100% can be used as qualifying income. You don't need a specific rating to use the program. This is eligible whether you have a rating or not. But yes, you can use your disability income to help you qualify. Again, if you have more than 10% disability, you don't have to worry about the VA funding fee. So that's the big benefit there.
Got it, got it, got it. Let's see here. L asking, can you refer some bankers that can help with the OTC loan?
Yeah, let's talk during our one-on-one and we'll get you squared away. I may know a couple.
There you go. All right. Let's see here. Moving on to the next question. iPhone number 3 asking, how do you figure how much you can afford? How's that based?
The best way is going through the pre-approval process. I don't know how other lenders do it. I can tell you how we do it. We do a soft check on your credit. We pull in your credit report. We pull in all your debts, check how much you make, whether that's disability pay, all that stuff. And then we tell you what your max pre-approval amount is. And just because I can get you into like a $4 million home, if you qualify for it, don't mean you want the mortgage payment that comes with it. So from there, I backwards plan with each and every one of you that's interested is here's your max, here's where you want to be and fit you into that ideal monthly payment. Because it makes no sense to get you into your dream home and then be house broke, in my opinion.
Got it. Let's see here. Jackson Eubank saying, it won't let me schedule. All right. So I'll try to see if I can fix that. I think you're already booked, by the way. I'll double check for you. Let's see here. Next question. Belinda, great question. Who pays for the blueprints?
That's included in your loan amount, so you don't have to pay for that up front.
There you go. Irby, what keeps agents from selling VA?
All right, whatever. All veterans are going to be blunt. Fucking lack of education and information because most people had one bad experience with somebody who didn't know what they were doing. And they're like, oh, I don't want to go through it again. And it's like, okay, maybe if you hired or worked with people that are actually knowledgeable in the program, you'd be squared away. So, really, the biggest issue that I see in the real estate community with VA loans is lack of education and information. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. Like when we're submitting offers for our clients, I call the listing agent. It's always the same thing. I'm worried about this. Did you actually do this? Yes, I did all of that and they're squared away. They're going to have no issues getting to the table. And the reason why is that people don't want to get to the end of a transaction and then it fall apart, just like any deal, right? So the reason why we see the hesitancy is just that lack of education information. And that's what I'm passionate about changing in the real estate community is bringing bringing some light to the people who raised our right hand, went to like really, depending what you did, shitty places, we earned this. There shouldn't be a bad stigma on it, and it's only a bad stigma because somebody messed up, somebody didn't know what they were doing, and that put a bad taste in some people's mouths.
Ooh, Jackson, I see what happened here. It seems like Zach is actually booked out. So I need to extend it out to the following week, Zach, if I
Okay.
may ask you for permission.
Yeah, that's
All right.
good.
All right, I'll open up the calendars for the following week after that as well. So I got you, Jackson. Just give me a moment, all right? I'll let you know when to check again. So great catch, by the way. Next question here that I have is Valentine Housen asking, is 100% rating considered? I'm not sure because she spelled it rating like ratting, like ratting. I'm not sure if that makes a difference.
If you're talking like for qualifying income, yes. If you're talking from like any benefits, depends what state you're at. If you get property tax exemptions, you're also not going to have the funding fee. So hopefully that answered your question. But if we're talking about can that income be used, absolutely.
All right, Jennifer asking, can your VA loan remainder be used to add to your current home? Would that be a new refi or equity loan?
If we're talking like a renovation type of deal, there is a renovation program, but you're going to restart your whole terms again. So you could essentially do a refinance, is what it'd be considered to get funds to renovate your home. But yeah, like if you have a 2.25% rate right now, you're going to go up to whatever today's market rate is. Hopefully I'm answering your question. Can you? Yes, you're restarting your stuff. Does it make sense? That's debatable. And that's going to be a case by case basis.
Jackson and anybody else that tried to book, go ahead and try to click that link one more time. We should have a little bit more slots available now. So I believe we should have an additional 9 more slots available, guys. So click on that link if you haven't already. So Jackson, that's for you and forever else, whoever wanted to book that did not already book and I didn't call your name, now's your chance to do that. All right. So thank you, Jackson, for bringing that up. All right. Next question is, and let me just tell you, Kamitha, how do we get the replay plus a slide? So the replay already comes with a slide. So let's just call it replay. So the replay itself, it takes some time to process. Not only that, but the editors and stuff, they want to make sure that they take the beginning, the end, all the ands, ums out of the picture here just to shorten it so it's easier for you to view. So it's going to take some time. So I would say like give it about just request it, just text us in if you haven't already on the same one that was giving you all the reminders. So do that and we'll go ahead and get this out to you, all right, as soon as we can. So the moment we can get that replay out to you, we will, trust me, we just have to go through a certain process, just like we all have to go through a certain process to get things done, right? So Robert Jackson Eubank, congratulations. I see you booked your one-on-one 8 slots available. So thank you, Zach, for opening up your calendar. Very much appreciated. Let me see here. Let me move on to the next question. So now I have to go back. All right. Yeah, yeah, there you go. No appointments left. So Jennifer, there you go as well, because that was you as well that wanted to book. We need to book for next month. So it should be available now. I opened that Monday or Tuesday open as well. Irby asking, is there an age limit on building?
Nope, no age limit. We cannot discriminate based on age. That is one of the protected classes.
Yep, there you go. Thank you for thank you for the little nugget on Veterans United by TJ. KC asking, is a VA pension treated same as disability?
Depends on the context. For qualifying, yes. Depends if you're referring to like your funding fee. It depends, right? If you are eligible for disability, but you took your pension instead, you can be exempt from it. If you never filed the claim, but you're getting your pension, you will still have the funding fee. But in terms of qualifying, yes, I could use that income. That's not a problem.
Got it here. Robert, I already had you booked for January 27th. So did you want to keep the 27th or February 2nd? Would February be better? Go ahead and type that into the chat box. All right, L asking, do you have a list of lenders on the East Coast that deal with OTC if you aren't available?
L, we can get you squared away. Only two states I can't help you in. If you're in New York or Utah, God bless, I'll get you someone else out there.
No, Robert, by accident, I'm so sorry. The moment you have booked for February 2nd, it canceled out your January 27th. And unfortunately, it's already booked out. So I'm sorry. Okay, so February 2nd it is for the same time. Let me go ahead and just get this out of the system. So you're good. You're all squared away. Jennifer Harper, congratulations on booking your one-on-one. I see you here. Have about 7 spots left. All right. How are you guys liking this webinar so far? We're just trying to give out as much information as possible. Go ahead and type that into the chat box. What do you guys think about the webinar so far? Just want to get some feedback from you guys. All right. Samsung asking, can the land have existing fire burn? And can it be used, to build a new home? So in other words, it seems like it's more like a demolition kind of job. If it has fire burn, what do you
I think it
think?
just depends, like, can the land even be built on through a soil test is probably going to be the big thing. Maybe it just depends on if that land is deemed buildable by the builder, soil test, all that stuff. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. This is a good one. Irby asking, is it a good thing to build versus buying a home already built? That's a great question. Not many people ask that.
I would say that that's personal preference. I don't think I could really answer that one. I don't think if you find a good home with good bones, there's nothing wrong with it. If you want to put in the legwork to build your custom home, there's nothing wrong with it. I think that's just shooter preference at that point.
There you go. Next question is Jason asking, what company are you with, Zach?
Origin Point.
There you go. A lot of people asking for those slides. Valentine asking, can you do loans outside of your home state? This is for Zach.
Can you do loans outside of your home state? Like, can I do loans across other different states? Yes. Can you purchase a home in a state that you don't live in with your VA loan? You're gonna
I
have
think that
to,
was what she was asking.
yeah, you're gonna have to prove occupancy, and that's the big thing, right? Again, VA loans are your primary residence. You're not buying a vacation home, you're not buying a second home, you're not buying investment property. So unless you plan to show me how you're gonna live there as your primary residence, hell yeah. But if you're like, hey, I just want this condo that I go down to once a year, blah, 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 I got a great other loan program to fit you into so we don't commit mortgage fraud together because I like my job. You probably want to keep your VA benefits. So let's keep each other on track.
I think that's what he meant. Can a property be used if it has a Ford demoling house on it? Like demolition house on it.
Like a house that needs to be condemned.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how to answer that one, honestly.
Eric, Can I change my appointment date? I will be in Black Hawk, Colorado during my appointment. I would like the first Tuesday in February. All right, so go ahead and click on that link again and rebook, and I'll just look for you, Eric. So when you come up, I'll cancel out your other appointment. Kamitha asking, once this process is complete, land with construction, can we do a HELOC to pay the loan off quicker? Great question, Kamitha. Not a lot of people know about that HELOC strategy, by the way.
I guess why would you be taking out a loan to pay off another loan? Because your HELOC is an adjustable rate mortgage, so that may be at a higher interest rate than your standard mortgage. So can you? Yes. Would I advise that? Not so much. That's just my personal opinion on that one.
Zach, there's a strategy behind it. There's a strategy that a lot of people, not many people have been utilizing to pay off their homes quicker and all that stuff. It's just that it's a pain in the butt. You have to put in all of your income into it and all that jazz to be able to actually get it working properly. And all of your expenses, you have to run it through the freaking HELOC too. It's
Yeah.
a whole other world, but I personally, I'm not a fan. Too much
Yeah.
work to get it done. All right. Gambo asking, I currently have a VA loan. Can I do a construction VA loan and also a Earl on current loan?
You can do, yeah, you can have multiple homes at a time. If you could do an Earl on your current home, even if you don't live there. Like I did an Earl on one of my homes when I didn't live there because you already met the occupancy requirement. So yes, just depends how much bonus entitlement you have to build a new home. Can you do an Earl on your current home? Yes, as long as you can get your interest rate. Again, the minimum is 0.5% lower. My personal and professional rule of thumb is 1% lower to really make it make sense by the numbers. But
Eric, I got your appointment here. I went ahead and canceled the one out. So you're all squared away, brother. Congratulations. All right. Let me get that next question here. Belinda, does the land need to be cleared for the build? Right now, it has small trees and underbrush on it. Also, it does not have a driveway or entry point. Does the land need to be cleared for the build?
it would be part of your build process. So if you didn't want to pay for that, like right now out of pocket, you can include that into your construction costs. So I would personally do that unless I don't know how much stuff you would have to clear, but I do know it can be expensive to clear and improve the land. So that could be part of your financing cost with the OTC. You don't need to do that prior to unless like you guys are on a long schedule, you have the funds to do so, things like that.
There you go. All right, guys. So, oh, this is another one from Jason. No early payoff, correct?
Correct. No early payoff penalty on your VA loan.
And Jason is asking in regard to the HELOC question from earlier. I think this is what they were asking. There you go. Yeah, you're probably right, Jason.
Yeah, if you pay it off, you're good to go.
Irby asking, do you see interest rates dropping soon and by how much? Use your crystal
Yeah, if I
ball.
had that, I wouldn't. Yeah. I'll tell you kind of what I've seen for the past couple of years, right? 2023, when rates were almost 8%, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were telling us as mortgage professionals rates were going to be 4.5% by the summer, right? Rates have not been 4.5% for 3 summers now. What I can tell you when I scope out and look at the 12-month view instead of the 36-month view, rates have came down almost 2 full percent. So there's a lot of hysteria in the media because, right, good news doesn't make money, bad news makes money, right? Rates have already been coming down, but what's the future going to hold? I mean, that's $1 million question, right? What's going to go on with like global issues? What's going to go on with inflation? Is it going to continue to downtrend? Maybe. Is it going to be a slow, smooth, steady stream? No, right? It's the mortgage-backed securities are just like a stock chart. It's up, it's down, it's all over the place. So what I can tell you is rates are already 2% lower from they were 36 months ago. So if you're holding off for 2.25 again, you're probably never going to see that, if I'm just being honest. Plus, if rates do come down that low again, it means our economy is total shit and we have to lower our rates to keep things going. So we don't really want that. Average before this COVID craze of 2.25 was anywhere from 4 to 6%. I'd say we're slowly inching our way there because I have a few veterans locked in like mid to low fives right now, and I have other ones who their credit's not the best. They're closer to 6.5, 7. So it just depends. I think rates have already been coming down. It's just everyone's expecting like this overnight, like we go from 6 to 4. Oh my God, that would skyrocket home prices, make competition really shitty for us, like especially as buyers. I just wouldn't see that. Long
There
winded
you
answer to
go.
your question.
King Dread Nate. Hi, I would like to schedule a meeting. Click the link in the chat box. I believe since Eric rebooked himself for a different time, you have that January 29th available. So if you want to claim that spot, if not, you actually have to wait till February 1st or 2nd to be able to book. So click the link in the chat box, see if that January, well, it seems like it's already taken. Great. So now the only slots available are for the 1st or the 2nd. Congratulations. I see you here, man. I see Barbados. Congratulations for booking that one-on-one. All right. Seems like everybody has their questions answered. If I missed one, please let me know. But during that meantime, let me just double check here that everything is squared away because we're a little over on the webinar. So yeah, that's my fault. You can blame that on me. But I want to ask you guys for a big favor. So if you guys really enjoyed this webinar, we keep these webinars for free for all veterans just so they can learn more about the entire process of what it looks like to buy their next home or to even build their next home. So this is completely free. Remember that we do not, we don't make money off of running this webinar for you today. It's completely free. Even the sessions are free. Zach was kind and generous enough to open that calendar to be able to get you guys booked, and you booked them out, which is great. Thank you guys again for joining. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night. You guys have been awesome. Thank you guys as well. Once again, I'll always say it again. Thank you guys for your service and to protect our country and our loved ones. I don't want to say it to Zach again because I tell this guy all the time. All right, let's go ahead and conclude the meeting. Zach,
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed night.
take care, guys. Be safe.